Africa is, I mean, it's unimaginable as you're talking about it. So I really hope things do turn through there, and I'd like to shift the focus slightly to a more upbeat topic. I'm a big rugby fan, and I have been a Springbok fan since definitely before Invictus, because I would not like to say that Invictus changed my mind, because I didn't know about the history. But I think from when England won the World Cup in 2003, if I'm not wrong, uh, uh, they went down under and won the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup. I think that's where, since then, I have been following rugby. But I read an interview of yours, mentioned that you were not actually in South Africa. You were in England during the '95 World Cup when South Africa won, and you mentioned it as a great unifying force for the country. About how just the general sense of achievement and happiness that spread all over the country. Did you feel that the achievement in Japan last year helped, sort of bring that sort of flavor back in the country? And how is the experience? Do you feel rugby as is a sport that's genuinely picking up? Because we all know football is, and football is the world's game. So, and it is with our South Africa hosting the World Cup as well 10 years back. So it is immensely popular there. But as for rugby, again like cricket, rugby has a rich and deep heritage in South African culture and South African sport. Just as a change up, I would say your opinions on how that has been going, and considering you guys are the world champions, so I think the opinions of South Africans would matter the most right now.
Yeah, I must quickly just with regard to you spoke earlier of the rivalry with us in Australia. Now we also big rugby rivalries, and a lot of South Africans immigrated to Australia. So that's part of the reason why there's this big. We dislike them as much as you do. So, but it's tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
It's a great rivalry, and I've got South African friends. I've got Australian friends. It's lovely. Look, nothing will match '95. Even last year's the winning the World Cup in Japan. '95 was enormous. We'd just come out of '92. We'd come out of the whole reconciliation process, change in government, the unbanning of Nelson Mandela, and so everyone was quite wary of each other even at that stage. And then to see him arrive at the game in a Springbok jersey, I remember clearly. I was playing county cricket for Derbyshire, so I got to watch the game in my hotel room. I think I watched it with Philip de Freitas. If you remember, he played for England. The two of us watched it. And seeing that moment, wow, in that single moment, you won the hearts of all South Africans. And so that was a great time. It was also a tribute to the strength of our rugby. Yes, it's been a very big Afrikaner sport. The amazing thing is that they still carry the Springbok as an emblem. In cricket, we don't. To this day, someone's really got to explain that to me. So they link still, there's a strong indifference to cricket. The feeling in cricket is very much pre-92. It never existed. They don't like to pay respect to it for obvious reasons. I respect that as well. But rugby, somehow it's different. They pay respect to all Springbok rugby players since the beginning of time, and those who played in the Saving Rugby Union, which was your non-white rugby union. So that I think they have made a better job of creating a legacy, a past, than cricket has. Anyway, that's for smart political scientists to explain that question to me. So give me the answer to all of that. I won't get into it. But so, one thing to remember about rugby, it's a contact sport, so you can't necessarily expose guys in a hurry. It's not like cricket. So we have to be very careful. But rugby, like cricket in certain parts of the country, particularly Eastern Cape, where I come from, there was a strong rugby culture, cricket culture. They were introduced to by the settlers in the 1820s. And so there's a very, very strong rugby following and culture in that part of the world, the Western Cape as well, less up here. But all South Africans have been natural athletes. It's no surprise that, like cricket, we'll just continue to produce world-class players. So I don't see that changing. In Japan, with Siya Kolisi being captain, his leadership being recognized, was a massive boost for us, boost for rugby, our reputation. And they came together they were also at sea battling with coaching appointments. They appointed one of the world's leading coaches who happened to be South African, happened to be a white guy, Rassie Erasmus. So they took the move in that regard. He put together a good team. Yet, again, Siya Kolisi had come under him as a junior. He had recognized Siya as a 19-year-old. He speaks about it. He recognizes his leadership qualities. And the way they came together, because a lot of our rugby guys play abroad, and then rugby has that policy, play abroad. It's like soccer. You then can be available to play for your country when needed. And being a World Cup, I suppose that also pulled them together. But rugby's my second love. We're all generally passionate about it. Not all South Africans, but it's a lovely game to follow. It's the best team sport I've played. But it's possible. You see, this is a thing that really irks a lot of people who love cricket, is that it's possible in our times to be successful. And rugby somehow managed to do better than cricket. They won 3 World Cups, if I'm correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't.
Yes. It is quite. I think Springboks and the All Blacks are generally the 2 best teams in the world. So that is.
Yeah, not. Well, England have really.
Yes, not right now.
But All Blacks have led it now for 10 years in all aspects, off the field, on the field. They've consistently. They're the benchmark now. It was us and the All Blacks, but we're in the middle of the pack. But rugby it's very similar to cricket. There's maybe 6 or 7 good sides.
Yeah.
Perhaps 10, not like soccer.
So I think both of them are very Commonwealth sports, cricket and rugby in that sense,
Absolutely,
yeah. So I think any interview of a South African cricketer with an Indian journalist is incomplete without mentioning the IPL and how it's going to go around. And of course, one of the biggest attractions in the IPL is a South African who's loved as much as any other Indian in India, probably more, AB de Villiers. And I know this is also probably a question you must be asked a million times in almost all the interviews. I won't delve into the past. I will just like look at the future. And if you see any chance of him actually playing for the South African national team, it's basically around, with the 2 T20 World Cups coming up in the next year and the year after in Australia as well, and of course the One-Day World Cup in India in 23. Do you see AB de Villiers, actually coming back into the fold for the Proteas, or do you think that it's now time that a lot of time has passed? It's almost been around 2 years since he last played for South Africa, and he has made some positive comments, but it's always been quite non-committal in that sense. So do you think we will ever see him play for South Africa again? And beyond that, your opinions on the IPL? The tournament starts in a week, and any players or any team that you might be looking out for?
Well, I love the IPL. I don't need to tell you what a success it's been. It's well followed in South Africa. I think this will be a great IPL. UAE is a fantastic venue. I'm sure the players are absolutely loving it there. Your travel times are short, so you're not having to do the flights. How rusty they might be not having played cricket for a while. They may play even better cricket since they've had a break, particularly a mental break. And I mean, you're closer to it than I am, but they must be expecting record viewership. Hugely followed. I hope the pitches, though, we're only looking at 3 venues. I really hope the pitches hold up. We don't see them becoming too dry and too slow, and which will bring the slow bowlers into it even more. But I hope it doesn't really. Well, low-scoring games also can be very good games. So I think the teams that read the conditions the best and play accordingly will probably be the most successful. But like a good few in the recent past, can RCB finally do it? It's a big one. I'm obviously a CSK supporter, and I'm going to be following Emers's progress, his individual progress more than anything else. But I'm really looking forward to it, and it's phenomenal, the impact. I work with young cricketers and particularly on India, and everyone will say, "What's your ambition? What do you want to do with your cricket?" And they will all say, "I want to play in the IPL, and I want to play for my country." but they want to, I want to play in the IPL. It's amazing. So I'm very, very pleased about that. So yes, I'm very excited. I'm going to probably watch more IPL cricket than I ever have in all the previous tournaments. The question of AB, I think it's time to move on. It's this ongoing debate. Are you available? Yes, I might be. I'll see how I'm feeling. I'll see how I'm physically feeling. There's deeper issues than just his physically how he is and his availability. There's got to be deeper issues. I don't think he sees eye to eye with Faf. I think there's an issue there around the leadership. I think that's an underlying one. We can't expect him to speak about it. That wouldn't be the right thing to do. But at some stage, surely, good as you are, and I'm a great AB fan. He's a freak. He's a genius. He's certainly since readmission for me been our most complete all-round, almost genius player. Look, in his generation, they rode the two balls, which would be easier for batting. You had the ridiculous batting power play. You had the bowlers of strangle. So I don't think batting in all formats, and I'll stick my neck out, has been easier. Certainly the last 30 years I've watched and played cricket. The last 10 years, I don't think it's been easier. And they've absolutely, like Virat and a few of them, they've really capitalized on it. And well done to them. It's good for the game. I like it. But in terms of South Africa, it can't be a physical thing. It can't be a family thing. It can't be this. It can't be that. It's not a long tournament. So they asked him to commit to a World Cup T20. But I think too, it was also, and I've had no inside information. I'm in contact with nobody. I'm just like you. I watch from the outside. I form an opinion on what I read and what I hear now. And I think it was also poorly managed. His cricket was poorly managed at one stage. The disappointments of the 2015 World Cup. Well, we've all had those disappointments. I'm sorry, but we've all had them. So he's got to commit. Or I think Otis Gibson and company, I think they gave him every single opportunity. So I don't think you can point fingers there. Maybe at the top level, perhaps, leading up to the last one, the last 20, the big one, I would have said to him, look, go and play your domestic cricket. 10 games into it, we'll select you. In the meantime, I'll field all questions on why you're not playing. Just refer them to me, and I will give the explanations. So again, it's leadership, it's management of players, understanding where the team is. Some do get managed slightly different to others. But you can't have a guy hold the team to ransom. And I think in his defense, it's been poorly managed. He's a hugely in-demand player. You can't hold it against him to want him to capitalize on his potential earnings. And as the West Indies discovered, their players turned their back for years, Gale and company. You can't hold that against them. And now they're back in the fold. So again, through lack of understanding, poor leadership, that's cost West Indies lots of success for many, many seasons. We have the Kolpak issue. We've got international cricket. The likes of Chris Morris and company, they don't need South African cricket. They've got a taste of it. They played a few times. It's on their CV. But he's only 20, 30 million rand playing T20 cricket around the world. So you've got to look at it differently. But every time I feel like a lot of people, here we go again. What's the problem now, AB? Or what's the excuse? Or what's the reason why? The line's got to be drawn in the sand at some stage. But would I have him in the team? Absolutely. Would I work with him? Would I try and make it work for him? Absolutely. Would I take the pressure off him? Without a doubt. Would I answer the questions on his behalf? Absolutely. Because he's a match winner. He can win it for you on his own. But somewhere in the whole thing, he's not happy. I guess he'll never tell us why. Maybe in his book when he's retired, which they all do.
Yes. The books seem to have a lot more knowledge than the player ever does give out in an interview. So, we'd probably have to wait for another 5 to 10 years for his autobiography or a biography to come out. Probably get to know more things there, and then probably sit for another interview as asking you, Daryll, what are your opinions on his thoughts of what was going on 15 years back. So, I think the way you put it, a quote from Sir Alex Ferguson's book, Leading. I remember that quote. He talks about how he managed two players from the same country, from the same background, so entirely differently. If you remember, players in 2008, Manchester United had Cristiano Ronaldo and a player called Nani as well in their squad, and both the players were from Portugal, were from a similar area, from the same club. They were from near Madeira and the same youth club that they come from. But his approaches to both of them were so entirely starkly different because it was all about man management and all about understanding what actually helps a player tick. So I feel a lot of times in a lot of team sports we see, probably that perhaps gets missed out, whether by the team management or whether by the coaches or whether by the administration itself. So I sincerely hope, because AB de Villiers is definitely a plus for the game. He's a huge attraction, not just for South African cricket, for international cricket, and he's got a lot of supporters all over. He can go anywhere, and he's, as you said, he's a freak of nature. So I hope for positive things to come. I just like to once again, I think it's almost been over an hour that we've been speaking, so I'd like to give you rest from me and my questioning ways. Thank you so much, Daryll, for actually joining us. It has been, I genuinely did not realize where the time flew by, and if I had the opportunity, I have a list of 10 more questions that I could ask you about, and probably keep that for another interview if we get the chance to do that. And, yes, and let's hope. I'm also a CSK fan. I'm hoping for some Dhoni fireworks, whether it's a low-scoring match or a high-scoring match. We hope for a CSK victory. Yeah.
Thank you, Kushalka. Thank you very much, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you so much, Daryll. It was sincerely a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.